Welcome everyone to our February Lunch and Learn. Your past does not define you by Erica Contreras. I am super excited to have you all with us. Just to go over, I know many of us are already experts in Zoom, but for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with Zoom, please remember to utilize your mute button unless you are actively trying to speak. We will be recording this session just so that way we can post it on YouTube later for those that weren't able to join us today. It would be awesome if you would be so kind enough to be on video if that's something you're able to do, and we understand if you can't. It just makes it a lot easier if we're presenting to a few individuals versus presenting to some black screens. That can not be as fun or as exciting for us as presenters. And we will have some opportunities for chats here shortly. So if you're not familiar, you can access that through the More button as well. And here's that opportunity. We would love to have everybody take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat. Want to know who is here with us today. So share your name, your title, if you are a peer or family support specialist, if you'd like, what organization you're with. And our icebreaker question of today is, what is your proudest accomplishment? And so my name is Haley Winterberg. I am the executive director of the Arizona Peer and Family Career Academy. And my proudest accomplishment is actually obtaining my master's in leadership. It was a big dream of mine to get a college degree, as well as to fulfill my dad's legacy of getting a business degree. I knew for me getting a college degree would support me in achieving my dreams and being able to provide for my family, and it has. And so that has been important for me. So I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves in the chat. Who do we have with us? Share your name, your title, where do you work, and what's your proudest accomplishment? I shared mine. What is yours? Proudest accomplishment is sobriety and getting clean. Yes, those are big deals as well. Absolutely. Got some chips right here. Love sobriety. Proudest accomplishment, law school. That's amazing, Emily. Congratulations. Getting peer support certified and obtaining employment doing peer support. Ah, beautiful, beautiful, Erica. That is a big accomplishment. Become peer support specialist. I know I was quite proud of that certificate. So who is the Peer and Family Career Academy? Our mission is to inspire recovery and wellness through professional development and continuing education in order to equip emerging leaders and strengthen the peer and family support workforce. In short, we exist to support our peer and family support specialists and the amazing organizations that provide this meaningful service to our community. And how do we do that? One of the main ways that we do this is through offering trainings to our community. Some of those trainings include a forensic support. We have one coming up in February, which we'll talk more about at the end. We have a self-care training because burnout is real, and hope and healing in the opioid use crisis, abilities and differences and inclusion. That's how to navigate the DDD and behavioral health system for a family support specialist. Effective advocacy, motivational leadership, supervisor course, because we want to make sure we are able to lead well, and these lunch and learns, which you all are experts in how to connect to. Another program that is near and dear to my heart, I want to make sure you all are aware of, is our peer-to-peer coaching program. This is something that we have available and really hopes to support our staff in our field to reduce that stress related to burnout. We know it's an incredible, stressful time for our peer and family support specialists throughout Arizona right now. So we have group and one-to-one coaching available for anybody that is currently working in our system right now. And this is entirely confidential, and this is not job coaching, it's not counseling, but this is just an opportunity for you to be able to connect with another peer or family support specialist and be able to listen and connect with one another. And with that, I am going to pass that over to Erica. I'm so honored to introduce you all to Erica Contreras today. I have got to watch her grow and blossom as a peer support specialist. I watched her as she signed up for her first day as peer support training and then her first day on the job. And I remember, I will be transparent, I was like, oh no, what were they thinking? And then watched her promote and become someone that I'm honored to call a friend today, and can truly say she is an asset to our behavioral health community, the organization that she works at, and she is truly an exceptional peer support specialist, and she has an incredible story to share with all of you today. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Erica.
Thank you so much, Haley. Hi guys, nice to meet you all. As Haley said, I'm Erica Contreras. I'm just gonna share my screen. So everything I do is about authenticity and transparency. So obviously I'm up here to share my story. So bear with me. This is like my first ever PowerPoint and everything. So if I get a little nervous, that's my disclaimer. Ta-da! Can everybody see a PowerPoint on their screen? Yes, that's the first win. Now we needed to go to this little guy. Okay. So again, I'm Erica Contreras, and I'm here today to share a story of overcoming and also of just being a peer and using the experiences that I've had to help other people build hope in themselves. Not necessarily, you know, like hope from me, but hope in themselves by just being a human and kind of connecting. That's probably my favorite part about peer support is there's no real, it's also one of my proudest accomplishments is my certificate, because it's like, wait, what? Hold on, I talk about and help other people figure out how they can have hope just because, okay, it was just this concept to me, but here we are. It all started out kind of, you know, with a lot of unhealthy boundaries, leading to incarceration, and then a rebirth, and kind of everything in between that goes along with those things, right? So first, I'll start with just the unhealthy boundaries. So, you know, through just a life of, like everybody else, a life of experiences of things going on, of traumas in childhood and all kinds of other things, I had a very unhealthy set of boundaries. I believe no was a bad word and it was hurting other people. And I kind of fell into this whole trap of just unhealthy boundaries after, oops, there we go. I can't use my mouse, so sorry. And bad choices, which led to drug addiction and just a life that was out of control. So one of my favorite quotes is from Mandy Hale, and it's necessary and vital to set standards for your life and the people you allow in it. And that's one of the things that I learned through this journey is about people you allow in your life, because maybe your own family is not healthy for you to have a regular type family relationship with, and that's okay. And it's okay for you to have those boundaries in place. As a matter of fact, it's a necessity, at least for me, to be able to recognize that and be able to move on with my life. And it's a big huge part of my recovery is being able to know who to allow in my life anymore and who to not. So my unhealthy boundaries and bad decisions led me to here. And I shared with Haley earlier my trauma associated with this photograph. Like, oh my gosh, what addiction for me, I never identified as an addict, okay? Like until I completely spiraled out of control, like I had it all together. What do you mean addiction? Like I need a few extra hours in the day. Like this is an addiction. I am a mom, I'm a soccer coach. I do the classroom every Friday, teaching the kids. Like this isn't addiction. Like I'm fine, I'm in control. I work a full-time job. I manage a whole restaurant. I'm not an addict. Well, eventually addiction leads to things being beyond your control and it just spins out of control. And that's where I landed up. Already 39 years old, I'm going to the Department of Corrections and my life has become unmanageable and just out of control. So I was fortunate to only have a sentence of 1.5 years. And so I didn't have to sit in prison very long, fortunately for me. But I also have always been around a lot of justice involved people. And I see how prison can really change a person, especially when they are there for a little bit longer. And my husband was there for a little bit longer. So he went away for 5 years on unrelated charges. But during this time in prison, I call it the wilderness because this person you see here on the screen, person is just broken. She just does not know if she's coming or going, how, what, when, where, or why. Like this is just done. She has 5 children that she is now going to go away from and go to prison and get that number. And this was just it for her. She didn't see any way out. Like this was that 6-digit number attached to her name was like the end. This was just the end. Like now everything was just no good and there was nothing else except something different happened in prison. I had to get to know myself. When you're sitting in prison, you have a lot of time to sit and think about things and kind of get to know yourself. And through hope and stories of other women that I was in prison with, talking to and stuff, I started to get a little bit more insight. For me, my spirituality and my faith is a big pivotal thing in my recovery. And that all started in the wilderness, just like Moses and the Jews were in the wilderness for 40 years. Here I was 39 years old, 40 years in the wilderness when I finally came to a better understanding that something needed to give. Because of prison, I'm stronger because I had to be. I'm smarter because of my mistakes, happier because of the sadness I've known, and now wiser because I've learned. This is an unknown author. I love quotes, so I always use things to help be supporters, and these are just some of the things that I've learned, like because of the mistakes, like I shared with Haley earlier about sharing that photo. I thought about taking it out and putting a picture like of me now, just ta-da. But I am who I am today because I went through that experience. And to deny or change that alters my story. And then I'm not really being authentic and transparent. And I want to be able to be that because that's exactly what I feel is the biggest thing. When I was in prison, I actually, there was a notice up and you had to be releasing to Maricopa County to participate in this program, which I didn't know anybody in Maricopa County. I was going to release back to Apache County, back to where I was doing not well at all, back to a baby's dad who we were just not healthy together at all. And it was probably not going to end up well. But I wanted to get off the yard that day because, I mean, everybody wants to get off the yard if they can. All my family was kind of far away from Phoenix, so it's not like I was getting visits or anything. I just wanted to get off the yard. So I decided to go up and I walked into a meeting of Arizona Women Education and Employment, which is now, I believe, merged with the New Leaf. But and I met a woman named Tony Davis who stood up in front of a room full of convicts on a medium security yard. You know, this wasn't the lesser yards. They stuck me right there with all the big girls. So they, you know, people have these conceptions, and she just shared her story of addiction and recovery and everything, and she told it with no shame and no anything, and she was real, and she made that connection. And I was like, wow, you know, I respect that she had that to come do. So that day I talked to Tony, which is also something I don't ask for help. Was a very, very prideful person. Pride is still sometimes one of my bigger issues I deal with, but we're all human, right? So I asked for help that day. I was like, look, I'm not released in Maricopa County. I don't know anybody, but I would love this opportunity to participate in this program because I want to change my life. And it was called the Women Living Free program. So they offered to help me get into a halfway house at that point in time. And I started doing, so the special thing that I believe about this program was so great is because it started in prison. Once a week we came up, we met, we did affirmations, which I hated because I didn't believe anything I was saying. Like it was just all, I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Like, I'm just going to tell myself I'm wonderful and then I'm going to believe it one day. Like, really get out of here with that. But the way we did it, it really did. It started to make you feel a little bit better and give things a little bit more chance. And then it connected us also with a mentor. So you choose your own mentor based off a video that the women who participate in the program, they make an introduction video, and you choose one that best serves your personality. And so I also got connected with this. And once I was released from prison, I had kind of a starting point where to go. So through this program of Women Living Free, I heard of this thing called peer support. Well, no, I'm sorry, let me back up. I met a friend of mine at the halfway house, had a CBI navigator who she worked with. And upon talking to her, I heard about CBI and I knew they had this crisis response vehicle. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be such a great job. Like, I would absolutely love to get out there and get right down and to people where they're at and help them. Like, yes, this is it. How, like, what is this? How do I do this? So that's when I heard about peer support. And the CBI, the girl that worked at CBI, she was like, no, don't, I recommend you go to REN and take their RST training because it's like the best. It's like long and it's intense and it gives you a lot more information. So I got with Tony and I got into the RST class at REN in April of 2017. So I'm taking this class and I'm at this building and I'm just so blown away about how your story is empowering and how they're teaching you that it is, and how you know it is because you know you relate to other people as well, and that helps you to see, you know, abilities, and we connect with one another, and that's how we learn things. And this is my RST class on the top. My facilitators, one of which I still work with today. She is somebody very pivotal. Her name's Crystal. She's in the back row, the third from the left. She is an amazing human being. These are all people who took the class with me, and Jacob was also a facilitator, and Cassandra. And this class really changed my life. In this class, Crystal, one of the first things that ever changed everything for me was she started this discussion, and I remember her saying, like, recovery isn't linear. And this was a profound moment for me because, like, you know, you think you start at like right here, all messed up, addiction, everything's just bad. And if you do A, B, C, D right, then you end up over here and like, yay, it's like rainbows and butterflies. And this is just how you do. You just have to do these steps. But those same steps don't always work for the same people. And so understanding that it was okay that some people were going A to B, but you went A to T and then back over here. And that as long as your recovery was progressing in a way that was beneficial, that it was okay, and that not everybody recovers in the same way. And this was just profound. So on my graduation, down here, this bottom picture, these are my two oldest sons, who, I mean, just kind of went through it with me. I was younger when I had them, not very young, but like 18, which is still pretty young to be a mom of two children whose dad's away in prison. And this is my daughter-in-law. Her and my son are now married. But this moment, to be able to have these boys see me do this and not just give up and stay where I was, has, this picture is just so profound, especially in our lives now. Like, peer support has been the greatest thing. So I fell in love with Ren, and I was like, CBI is wonderful, don't get me wrong, and I'm glad, but I was like, I need to get in this building. This is the greatest place on earth. Like, what, how come people don't know about this peer support thing? I never heard of this in my life, but it was the thing that made the most sense. Because when you have a culture of like conviction and, you know, a past life of just like gang activity and all these things, there's these certain rules and things, right? Like, you're a convict, like you don't just connect with anybody, like you don't just go share your stuff. There's like codes and rules. Well, in this building, nobody cared about any of that. Like, people just welcomed you in with all your issues and all your things, and they talked about theirs, and they were happy, and I just had to be working here. So I graduated RST in May 25th of 2017, and I went on at my job, which was really right across the street at Synergy Solutions, where I worked on the phones for Shutterfly, while I went through RST training. And I dreamed about working at Ren, but because of the traumas that I already been in and all the things I believed about myself, and I wasn't quite comfortable enough with considering myself in recovery, I was still beating myself up. I wouldn't, how was I going to get to work there? I had like no idea how's this going to work? So I just like to remind myself sometimes of these, you know, little quotes, like I said, of positivity, and just remembering that every day we only have what we can give, and so does anybody else at any given moment. So just to kind of be kind to yourself as you would to anybody else, not understanding what's going on in their life. And I went day to day drudging by, wishing I could work at Ren, passing it every day on my way to work myself, and just wondering what wonderfulness was going on in there. Then next thing you know, unlikely, I get a phone call from somebody who no longer works at Ren, and who no longer works at Ren. And he's like, look, I need your application in. Like, we need people, and I think you'd be really great at this. He was supervisor downstairs in the Recovery Empowerment Center, where they provide groups, while I was doing RST training in the practicum part of it, which is kind of like a internship sort of a thing that they do at the end of every training, to give you that kind of real experience of what it would look like to facilitate a group, to co-facilitate or whatnot. So after Leslie just nudged me, I finally put in my application, and lo and behold, ta-da, the newest recovery coach, September 18th, 2017 was me. And I came in there just scared to death, but so excited and empowered. And through peer support, I learned to have a voice, and I learned how to advocate, not only for myself, but to partner with other people and help them to realize the strength of their selves. So from recovery coach, facilitating groups, I moved into a program at Ren that is very dear to my heart, called Hope Store. And it is a crisis intervention and prevention program. And the special thing about it is, it's not a crisis as defined by me. It's a crisis as defined by the person. So sometimes a crisis may be getting your laundry washed for somebody, right? Like, we're not here to judge where anybody's at. I know sometimes I've been in my life where I'm like, you know what? I got no clean clothes, no quarters, no way to get to the laundromat. What am I going to do? So Hope Store goes and partners with these people. Some people are just, stuck in their house. So you go and you connect with them, build those connections, and help encourage them to try things. And seeing people that I worked with in this program really come out. I mean, one of the people I worked with is now a board member on a board. And before, he didn't even have the confidence to even speak out in a group. And now, and I didn't do anything. He did it all. All I had to do was show up and be there. And this whole empowerment thing was just amazing. And I continued to think, what else can I do? I stayed my connection with Amy and Tony through that time. And I was able to also share my story at Justice Involved Roundtable discussions, where they're coming to figure out about reentry and recidivism and how to work on this whole thing. And it's been this empowering journey all the way from day one. I've met so many wonderful people along the way, and I've just learned so much from so many people and sharing their experiences. And going through peer support and connecting. I had the opportunity to work with people in the Arizona State Hospital who are getting ready to come out and reintegrate into, regular society out here, which is a scary thing. It's anytime you've been like incarcerated like longer than 2 years, it's probably hugely terrifying to come out, right? I'm not so much. For me, I was fortunate enough to only be actually locked away for 10 months in a row at any given time of incarceration, but just watching some other people in that time. So while I'm out here and I'm moving along, following my spirituality, which is keeping me on the straight and narrow path, my connection with my creator, this RST thing, these new advocacy skills. In the meantime, like I said, I have a husband who's in prison for 5 years. So the whole time I'm out here and I'm sharing with him my experiences, and lo and behold, that peer support is now taking place inside the prison. My husband's working on his GED and he's getting all these things doing just based on the hope that I was out here doing these things. He felt empowered that he could also, well, if she found something in prison, maybe I could look for something in prison. So now we're both working together on ourselves while going through incarceration and moving through the peer support and all the just amazing connections and things that I've been able to be a part of, and people that I've met along the way. Who Haley, my first boss in the recovery center, Cinda Thorne, she was like so hard. I was worried about it at first because I was like, I don't know. I was fresh out of prison. I know I was like almost a year out already, but I still had this real bitterness, and this whole like, I'm, chingona, and I'm gonna like, and I'm not gonna put up with nothing. I had these still past scars, and being able to let go of some of that, having to stick up for who I was back then or make excuses or anything, I've learned to let go of from these very strong, pivotal women that have played such a role for me. In going after, recovery support training, I've been interested in a lot of recidivism. So I was fortunate enough to participate in the forensic training that the PSCA offers. One of the best trainings I've ever been to. I was so excited to be a certified forensic peer support, because eventually I want to walk back into Perryville. That is definitely like my bucket list. I want to go back in. I am connected with Danielle Havardi, who through ASU has a program about providing peer support in Perryville, which all froze up because COVID is such a winner. But I'm hoping, and I stay in contact with her all the time, because I want to walk back in those gates in my own clothes and walk back out in my own clothes, because I don't know, that's just kind of like the completion circle for me. Through my experiences and everything, my husband came home in the middle of the pandemic. So he got released December 21st, 2019. And we all know 2020 kind of went right off the rails. He came out, he hit the ground running, he got a job, he was working at a bakery, he was so excited to be working. And then he got connected with somebody else building stages, so he even felt better, because he's kind of those like, rough guys who wants to be like that. Well, then in comes coronavirus. Well, some people's husbands were coming down to Ren because they were bored and they were doing some painting, and my husband got laid off from the bakery because it was coronavirus. So I was like, well, hey, I know somebody who is free labor who would like something to do. He came in the building, started to help out. Next thing you know, our facilities guy decides he doesn't want to work anymore because he has, some health issues and he doesn't feel safe. And here comes my husband, who also then takes peer support training and now facilitates a group that he developed that shares stories of addiction and all kinds of addictions, and helping to support other people in that way. And so now he's home, he's working in peer support, and my passion for it is obvious because it works right here. This is at our son's wedding. And so we didn't get to have a first dance for our wedding. And so our son gave up a dance at his wedding through addiction, heroin addiction, meth addiction, through felonies, and 7 years away out of to be here and be on this path is it's just, it feels like a whole dream come true. Like, and I think that helping to go back and realizing that just because somebody goes to prison or makes bad choices, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Okay, something happened, there needs to be some support or something. I understand maybe people just feel like they give up on somebody, but everybody needs somebody to hope and encourage them, to help them realize that they can come back from anything. There's no choice you make unless you're not alive anymore that you can't come back from. You just have to want to, and you have to have those supports around you. And I think that's really the key is kind of how you support yourself. So, or who you support yourself with, or who you keep around you in your circle. Perseverance isn't a long race, it's many short races, one after the other. It's not about the whole longevity, it's about making it through those things, remembering that it's never going to be easy every day. And it's okay when those things come along or you make those mistakes. I'm in my second semester of college, terrified. Like, all the time, like, you're too old to be going to college. You're barely trying to get an associate's degree. Like, and I'm only taking 2 classes at a time because I work full time. I have a son who's also at ASU, a senior in high school daughter. I've got grandchildren, so I can't afford a full schedule, but I'm taking 2 classes at a time. I'll graduate in 2025, but you know what? Being in peer support and seeing people not give up every day, and not giving up myself, and enduring those little races and sticking out through it helps to give me the encouragement. I've got a lot of people around me who help me be accountable, because accountability is huge, and who encourage and push me every day. And I just want to continue to remind people, no matter where you're at, any situation can change. No matter how empty it feels right now, like, it really can change. Your past doesn't define you. My past is a part of me, but it doesn't define me. And today I am a whole brand new creation, which is my very first affirmation. And to find it full culmination now, I am the finance coordinator of a multi-million-dollar nonprofit. Like, what? I don't have a degree yet. I've never done finance in my life, but through my perseverance and hard work and reaching out in there, they took a chance on me, and here I am killing it. And in 2025, I'll have an associate's degree in accounting, and I feel like so empowered, and I feel like it's the people who helped share their journey with me that have empowered me. And so that's why I'm grateful to share my journey wherever I can go, and just keep going. And who knows, maybe I'll go back for my bachelor's. So, that was there we go. So that's my share. Where am I? If anybody has any questions or comments that they would like to make, wait, where's my thing?
What would you say was the most helpful in your journey that you received from someone helping you? If you could give advice to another peer support specialist, what would you tell them in helping others going through a journey similar to yours?
I think it's the best thing to remember in peer support is that it's not your job to fix the next person or help the next person. Like it's not your personal responsibility. Like it's that person's journey. You just because it's a similar thing, because I think a lot of times I see peer supports kind of going, oh yeah, no, I know. No, you don't know. You have a similar, but you don't know, okay? Because you're not me. And I think sometimes people are off put by that. So I would just say, always remember that. And also when somebody maybe falls back, you might take it personal and it's not personal. It's simply, you know, that person's journey and you're just there to help encourage and empower them, but it's not your, it's not your job.
Does anybody else have any questions for Erica? I want to thank Erica. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I want to thank you for your vulnerability and being so transparent with everybody. It has been a true honor to watch you grow and develop and truly come into your own. You know, you guys have no idea. She really came in very rough around the edges and is so polished and has gone from being a very new peer support specialist to finance coordinator, and being able to watch her journey has been truly amazing and shows the power for me of recovery, determination, and shows the true strength of Erica and just how amazing this work is, and how if we really want to go after bigger and better things in this field, we can. So thank you, Erica, for being such a great example to all of us. I know I really look up to you and admire your strength and your hope in some of the darkest times. I just admire your spirit and your happiness at all times. So thank you. And I appreciate you sharing with us. And I want to encourage you all, if you would like to join for another story, we will have Michael sharing his story March 1st. And he will share his story of hope and recovery after incarceration, as well as substance use journey. We'll have another Amazon raffle gift card, which we'll be doing here shortly, so don't take off just yet. We also have our forensic peer support course. We're offering this in the evening this time. So if you can't take off of time from work to attend one of our PFCA trainings, we're excited to be able to offer a time that hopefully you will be able to make. It'll be from 5 to 8 on Thursday evenings, February 10th, 17th, and 24th. In this training, we go over how to navigate the court system, some best practices for offering forensic peer support, and how do we provide support in breaking down those barriers for individuals that are just as involved. We also are offering an advocacy course, which Michael will be co-training with me, as well as another trainer, Leon. And this is how do we become champions of change. This is some legislative advocacy, as well as speaking up and utilizing our voice as power as peer and family support professionals. So I'd love it if you guys could join us on February 28th from 12 to 4. And time for the raffle. I know this is what everyone is really interested in, right? We all want that Amazon gift card. And so let's get started with that. And I go ahead and share the wheel of names. And let's spin. Who is our winner today? Cassandra, are you still on with us? Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
If you could please send me your address to my email. I'm going to bring that back up on the screen. That way I can send that Amazon gift card to you. That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for joining us at the PFCA for our Lunch and Learn. As a reminder, sign up for our newsletter, like us on social media. We will be posting this recording as well as we have our previous Lunch and Learns on our YouTube. We have amazing posts that we try to keep up to date on our Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, whatever is your social media choice of the time. We want to thank Mercy Care for sponsoring this Lunch and Learn this month. And thank you all for joining. I hope you have a fantastic day and have a wonderful month. And hopefully I will see you at one of our next trainings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haley.